Good evening and welcome to tonight's Undaunted. Bringing into the news untold stories. I am Thabita Akor. Let's begin. A family's desperate wait for the return of their son has ended in tragedy. After reportedly being arrested weeks ago, a young man from Busam clan in Widikum subdivision was found dead in another village, leaving behind unanswered questions, a grieving community, and growing calls for accountability. Tonight, we examine what is known about the case, what remains unclear, and why his death is stirring fresh concern across the home front. Also tonight, the war in southern Cameroon is no longer being fought about alone with guns. It is increasingly being fought through competing narratives. As kidnappings continue to plague communities, a new debate is challenging who should be held responsible. While the French Cameroonian government has consistently blamed the Ambazonian state army for many abductions, supporters of the Ambazonian government insist criminal networks and alleged state-backed operatives are behind some of the attacks, accusing them of carrying out kidnappings to discredit the struggle for self-determination. Now, with one family mourning a son and another fierce contest unfolding over truth, responsibility, and public perception, the questions continue to grow. Now, the stories behind this development are coming up right after the prime headlines. Family seeks answers after a young man is found dead weeks following reported arrest in Widikum. 6 French Cameroonian soldiers reportedly killed in overnight ambush in Mbeshia County. Commentary reignites debate over who is behind civilian abductions in southern Cameroon. Also tonight, Ambazonian state army arrests suspected kidnapper in southern Cameroon. And on African scene, Benin Republic suspends electoral commission ahead of planned election reforms. And on news across the globe, Iran fires missiles at Jordan and Bahrain as U.S. intensifies strikes, escalating Strait of Hormuz crisis. Now we head on to the details of the news. Busam clan, Widikum subdivision, is seeking answers after the body of a young man was discovered weeks after he was reportedly arrested by French Cameroon government security forces. Community sources told Undaunted News that a young man was taken into custody several weeks ago after being accused of supplying drugs. The sources further alleged that his family was later asked to pay about 700,000 francs CFA to secure his release. The family was only able to raise about 500,000 francs CFA, an amount they claimed was rejected because it fell short of the requested sum. Now, in the weeks that followed his arrest, the young man's corpse was later found in another village. The exact circumstances leading to his death remain unknown, and the claims made by community members have not been independently verified, and no official statement have been issued by the military and administrative authorities. Now, the incident is likely to raise fresh questions about the circumstances surrounding arrests and detention in the area as residents await clarification from the authorities. Tonight, joining me on the show is our legal mind, Barrister Mbeshia, who will be giving us his thoughts and perspectives to the unfolding reports tonight. Barrister Mbeshia, good evening, sir, and good to have you. Always a pleasure.
Thank you for receiving me.
Yes, sir. Now, the circumstances surrounding his death is truly unfortunate, Barrister Mbeshia, and this follows several reports we've heard on the show where French Cameroonian soldiers arrest and detain Ambazonians. Now, the questions we should be asking right now is what happened to him? His family are seeking answers. Why was he killed without proper investigation? 1 minute he's been arrested and detained, next minute he's been found dead. How do we process this? Let's hear from you, Barrister Mbeshia.
Well, I think this is a timely story because yesterday and the day before, we're analyzing corpses lying up in Bamenda, in Quen, around the hospital, without identification. And I remember saying here that the only people who are suspects in those instances is the government. Because only the government has the power to arrest people, to adopt people. They're not even arresting them. What they did to that young man was not an arrest, it was an adoption. Because it is an arrest, you have an arrest warrant, which will state the reasons for which the guy is being arrested. There was no arrest warrant. He committed no crime, but he offended somebody in authority. And the man thought that it was not good enough to go through the normal route, get an arrest warrant, take him to custody, question him if that is necessary. They didn't do that. They simply adopted him and took him to where we don't know. And what do we know now? He is dead. They found his corpse. It's not speculation. The guy is dead. You can't be asking how he died. Someone killed him. That someone must be someone who adopted him. And so he goes his adopted life. He's a strong, healthy man. What you know of him is that he's not a dead man. Who can give you the explanation? Only the government. Can that explanation ever be acceptable? No. Because even the government, wherever it is, doesn't have the right to execute people like that. They have no right to extrajudicial killings. Again, this is a repetition. This is just going to confirm what we said yesterday. Bamenda, in particular, has become abandoned corpses. Are you still getting me?
Yes, sir. Are we you? We are with
Getting
you,
me?
sir.
Are you getting me?
We can hear you. Yes.
This main scene of corpses. By the government, I said we, the Ambazonians, whatever thing we do, we don't even have vehicles to transport corpses. But this is a rare case. I will go to confirm what I said, and they took him away to Yaoundé live, strong, healthy. We have not seen his corpse. We have not known where he was buried. But the very people who adopted him told us officially he is dead. No more questions asked. The question, therefore, is this is across the border of Ambazonia, from Boya to Bamenda. Bamenda is in Momo, 30, 40 feet away. I find that it's across the board. Because they all ask people that they don't need any other defense. It's the government of Cameroon. No questions asked. To custody and will end up dying. And I remember yesterday saying something when we were analyzing such a romance case against the government. It's in Switzerland. I said, for example, they took away Josh Ekane. Josh Ekane was sick, but they took him away. You took away his breathing machines from him, and he died. And the question is, you cannot ask who killed him. You took away his breathing machine. He died. This is done in open daylight. And so if they can do this to people, is this a government that we should ever have anything to do with it? No. Fellow people, Ambazonians, particularly those in Momo. I saw Maacha a few days ago, put out a video there, no mercy has returned.
Barrister Mbeshia.
Is this an environment where you think for sure? No, our man were or your child like this. Will you be comfortable taking a salary in Yaoundé in the name of Momo calling yourself minister at the presidency? No. We think we Ambazonians have lost too much. We cannot continue to lose so. But we cannot stop it by all these people pack out. And they will not pack out until we cause them to pack out. Let the community know what we're going through. No reasonable person in the world, no reasonable people in the world, no reasonable country reasonable country in the world will accept to be treated like this. Even slaves were not killed like that. Slaves labored without pay. They probably died from hard labor, but nobody shot and killed them. And so this is one too many. Again, this is a clarion sound call to Ambazonians to understand why we fight. We are trying to fight. We are fighting to try to save the rest who are still alive. It is yes, this gentleman a few weeks ago. It could be you tomorrow, or it could be me today. And so we have gone into this inferno, which we must put an end to it. At all costs, we must get out of it. Sorry to the poor family. Don't expect any other answers because the answers are already there. They killed him because he's an Ambazonian. They killed him because they suspected that he was mounting resistance to the occupation. As simple as good morning. Over to you.
It's quite unfortunate, Barrister Mbeshia. Thank you for that warm perspective and remark on that issue. Now over to Buyi County. An overnight attack in Buyi County has reportedly left at least 6 Cameroonian soldiers dead, according to a situation report released by the Buyi County security team. The report claims that Ambazonian State Army launched what it described as a coordinated ambush in Tobin, Kumbo local government area during the night. The operation was reportedly led by commanders identified as Major General Viper, General Newsman, and General Smart. According to the situation report, the fighters allegedly infiltrated military positions under the cover of darkness before opening fire on French Cameroonian troops said to have been patrolling the area. The report further claimed that some of the soldiers were gathered at the time of the attack. Now, the Buyi County security team stated that about 6 Cameroonian soldiers had been confirmed dead, adding that the casualty figure could rise. The claims, however, have not been independently verified by Undaunted News. Neither the French Cameroonian military or government authorities have commented on the reported attack. The latest reported ambush comes as fighting continues across part of Buyi County, where clashes between French Cameroonian government forces and Ambazonian State Army remain frequent, with both sides often issuing conflicted accounts of battlefield development. Barrister Mbeshia.
Yes, again, this is something that we should say congratulations to the Buyi ASA fighters there. This is an attack on a military base. The military camp, whatever thing they call it there, is a legitimate target. One good thing we have heard is that no civilian was killed. If they could carry this surgical attack on the enemy, that's the enemy, the camp there to fight and kill Ambazonians. If the surgical attack could take down as many of them, if not just 6, if 20, if all, that would be congratulations. Just not because they died, but because of the precision that our boys did it. They are trained, they went to the target, they got the target, and came back home safe. And so what can we say? We can only say that we are better than them. We can say that we are 10 times more tactical, more trained than the regular army of Cameroon. And so again, this is where we are. I've said 10 times, million times before. This is Bui. Bui is a front line of this struggle. If we can kick them out of Bui, that might just well be the end of the struggle. They might not continue to fight anymore. Because as Wilbur said, Bui is a land of no return. The people of Bui fight reservation. They fight with precision. They never surrender, so said Wilbur. And he added, bring all the French army and add to yours. You will not defeat the people of Bui. Because when Wilbur spoke, he was not speaking even for Ambazonian, he was speaking for Bui. Because he was a parliamentarian from Bui. And so if Bui can do this, we wish other countries can emulate. But even if they cannot emulate, we can say we are successful. If we take off all the armored cars in Bui alone, they have nothing to deploy in Donga Mountain. They have little to deploy in Momo. They have almost nothing to deploy in Manu. And that would end the war by itself. Until they realize that they throw the first stone. And the man who throws the first stone is not always the person who will win the battle. I'm sure if they have senses in their heads, they must have been thinking now, what error did we not make? We made a big error by attacking these docile people who were not armed, who were simply talking, and we thought we could silence them with a gun. We thought we could silence them with anything that was violent. And now they are meeting their doom. We can say congratulations to Bui, those guys who are there. If we have anything to support, we will do. Support these people of Bui, these fighters there, with everything that we have. Prayers, money, equipment, food, whatever thing you have to support them, do it. I will congratulate them for not making one of us, who is a victim, who is just a civilian, die in the crossfire. They are precise. They have done what they are trained to do. Congratulations. Do more. The journey is nearer the end. Over to you.
That's a great one coming from you, Barrister Mbeshia. Thank you for that. Let's head over to a really striking question would need you to answer tonight. Now, who is really behind the growing number of kidnappings and civilian abductions in southern Cameroons? That question is once again at the center of public debate after a widely circulated commentary challenged the long-standing narrative that blames Ambazonian State Army for many of the incidents reported in the ongoing war. In a commentary shared on social media, political commentator Africa Thomas argued that many kidnappings attributed to the Ambazonian State Army were allegedly carried out by armed groups he referred to as Antanga G's boys. According to the commentary, there is a clear distinction between what it describes as a temporary detention of individuals by Ambazonian State Army for questioning or to deliver political messages and criminal kidnappings carried out for ransom or intimidation. Now, to support this argument, the commentary pointed to several widely reported incidents, including the detention and subsequent release of Professor Tsumi, the questioning and release of the phone of Bui, and the recent detention of members of a religious group who were later released after. According to the author, a message had been conveyed. Now, we see that the commentary further alleged that armed groups linked to French Cameroonian government have repeatedly carried out kidnappings, extortion, and attacks on civilians, Ambazonian civilians, before shifting responsibility to Ambazonian State Army. Now, French Cameroonian authorities have consistently maintained and argued that Ambazonian State Army are responsible for numerous kidnappings and attacks throughout the war. However, Ambazonian State Army have continued to dispute responsibility for those incidents, accusing and stating that the state-backed forces, French Cameroonian forces, are carrying out operations that are designed to discredit the Ambazonian struggle for determination. Now, with competing narratives continuing to shape public perception of the war, establishing responsibility for many incidents remains very difficult, underscoring the importance of independent investigations and credible evidence. Barrister Mbeshia. Do we have you there?
Uh,
This commentary
yes, I
seems.
think we don't need any other independent investigation. That reporter, that story you're quoting, is not written by an Ambazonian. He's not even an Ambazonian sympathizer. And he's not the first. There's all reports are all there for the past 9 years showing how the government has trained its own kidnappers in order to paint the revolution dark, in order to make the fighters of Ambazonian look bad. It is not only those reports, they themselves have admitted it. They are that they went to Ngarbu, trained civilians, gave them arms to go and kill children and pregnant women. That is an admission from government. Is there anything called Ambazonian boys? They are there. But the government of Cameroon has made vigilante part of their fighting force. They have made kidnap for ransom part of their struggle. The goal to enrich themselves, one. Secondly, to attempt to paint the Ambazonian fighters black. Ambazonian fighters, I've just given the examples there. If they do arrest you, 99% of the times, it's just to question you and let you go. And when they do that, they say, we arrested this guy, we question him or her, and let the person go. The example is Christian Toomey. Was taken into custody along with the phone so was any of them killed? No. Did Ambazonian fighters deny it? No. They said we took them in for questioning and released them. The same has been said of other religious people who were taken into custody. Some of them say, well, they told us that the peace is no longer there. It's not yet there. They wanted them, according to those stories, tell the Pope that the Pope's mission has not succeeded because they are still killing us. They let them go. They didn't take a dime from them. And so they kidnapped for ransom, call them Tanganji boys, or whatever, I summarized in one. They are government sponsored. Because where are Tanganji? My very Tanganji boys. In other places of Ambazonia, where Tanganji is not even popular, where he doesn't even know, there are lots of them. Go to the BLM, you're going to find a lot of government sponsored kidnappers. They are there. They don't even call themselves Tanganji boys. Go to Mamfe, you find same. Go to other places, they are there. So government has spread its tentacles of kidnap, its tentacles of torture, its tentacles of killing behind the screen, and spread it all over Ambazonia with the sole goal of frightening the people, with the sole goal of making the world look at Ambazonian fighters as tormentors, as abductors, as criminals. But so far, it has not worked. Because as we were just analyzing in the last segment, evidence is coming out by itself. They took that guy in Bamenda. Officially, they took him. They found him dead. And even they asked him for ransom. The family could pay what they could. The man was not let go. And so there's no doubt about all that. But the question is, how long can they do this? These things are so many. They didn't hide. When they went to Pin sometime in 2019, I think, and killed all those people, young men in a hotel. They didn't hide it. And so it is a continuum of what they have been doing privately and publicly. If they extort money from you, they kill you and dump you on the street, somewhere in the street where you're not known. Why? They want to create generalized insecurity. Why? Because that generalized insecurity would call on the citizens to go back to them. And you can find they do this in many different things. We have been talking about drugs infesting every single village in Ambazonia. And we ask, why is the government not fighting them? Why is the government not arresting the drug dealers? Is it by mistake? No. It is designed to punish us. It is designed to say you people will suffer for the consequence of resisting. And of course, we know resistance is always difficult. Freedom is not as cheap as people think. As we have said, many of us have died. But shall we abandon this journey incompleted? No. If we do it, what shall we say these people died for? What shall we say these people were imprisoned for? And so that the more they do that to us, the more we are encouraged to stand the grounds and say we shall fight without stopping. Those who survive will tell the story. And shall everybody die? No. Some people will survive. And those people who are doing these actions against us, likely 99% are going to be held accountable sooner or later. And so let their stories encourage us to tell us that even if they stop it now, we have reached a point of no return. We shall never go back to where we started in 1961. Because had we known, people always say it's the last thing. If we had known this in 1961, even 11 February, we would not have opted to join them. We opted to join them. Even though that was not what we liked. But they forced us to opt to join them. And who goes to imprison himself? Who goes to see the God return and put your neck right there? Now, we have taken too much, but it's not yet too late. Because I have said all of us will not die. The few survivors will save the rest. Continue fighting, let them continue duplicating their efforts. It will take them nowhere. Because you can lie sometimes, but you cannot lie all the times. As I said in the last 2 days ago, you can manipulate some people sometimes, but you cannot manipulate the whole nation all the time. They will stop manipulating us. They have manipulated a few. They manipulated Foncha. They manipulated Muna, and the rest who died before them. That nonsense, we have realized their manipulation has come to an end. The children of this generation cannot be manipulated. Not all of them. Not the Ambazonian State Army, not the Ambazonian, not the British Southern Cameroon government in exile. We have come to the end. We shall succeed no matter how difficult it is. The road to heaven was not paved. The road to heaven is always rough. And we're going to the final goal. Over to you.
I agree with you, Barrister Mbeshia. Thank you for that insight. Now let's head over to this report. All right, there's a report here to give more follow-up to what we just discussed. Now, the Ambazonian State Army says it has apprehended a man it describes as a suspected kidnapper, claiming he was involved in criminal activities targeting civilians in southern Cameroon. A video circulating online shows the suspect in the custody of Ambazonian State Army. In the footage, the narrators allege that the man was working on behalf of the French Cameroonian government to carry out kidnappings and tarnish the image of an Ambazonian State Army commander known as General the Only Bro. The Ambazonian State Army further claimed the suspect's activities were intended to fuel public mistrust by attributing criminal acts to the Ambazonian State Army. Let's take a look.
Yeah, good morning, Ambazonian people. Then good morning, Babanki people. Special. This audio, this video where they make they go direct for Babanki people. I want for make me Babanki people they know say Amba person where they call and say Amba. We na correct one. You know the key man for no good reason. I want make me Babanki people they know say. All these picking the way that they die for Babanki, so na pass to the killer. Amuna no correct. This picking way una the see so he na pass to. Now then they kill all these soldiers them with the day inside Babanki. We na Babanki picking them. So the only thing where I go talk for Babanki people now say. Me, una know me inside the 10 years where me are there for struggle. Una know who me I be. If I be the do think the way that they talk and say they do, if I be the do, I know for still there, I for don't die. Me I don't pass to with power, pass it with spiritual, pass it for any kind of thing. They know that one. So plenty boy then there for Babanki when I pass to, don't fool them. The sense that they can't ambush their brother, they no place where they sleep. They ambush their brother, they make they can't kill him. So this one we on the see and so na picking way either can join Amber work. He run, go for Sowers. Go come out Sowers, the turn back, pass to Kashi for upstation. He pull for work. He na the work. Last two soldiers we then kill him for Babanki. Na pass two. They confuse them. Maybe they can't show pray where soldier they sleep, maybe they can't kill them. So today, all evidence day. Yes, all evidence day for this one. Now,
Undaunted News has not independently verified the identity of the suspect or the allegations made against him. The reported arrest comes amid continued accusations and counter-accusations over responsibility for killings and kidnappings and other crimes committed in the war. Barrister Mbeshia.
I said in the last segment that there are that we have seen that face, but that's just one out of several. We don't need any further verification. He's sitting there. I'm sure he was talking, even though we don't have his audio. But again, just to complement this story, I think last week there was a similar story in the BLM. They have the same story behind them. He was once a fighter for Ambazonian state government. That one left and went away and became an agent of the government. The prefect used him. This is his own story. The prefect gave them arms and money, with which arms they used to kill Ambazonian boys, fighters. For what? For 300,000 francs, given to them by the prefect. And so that guy is just one of the several. If you add him to the BLM and the other ones that we don't know, it's just tell one story, that they are infiltrated. But the question we should be asking ourselves, these are our children. Why do you waste your life to go kill another person? The Ambazonian fighters are volunteers. If you think that you can no longer fight and walk away, why don't you walk away permanently to your house? Why do you come to eliminate your own brothers in arms with you? Life is expensive. You are the son of somebody. Just like the one you are killing is the child of someone. He is the husband of some woman. He is the father of other children. So bring down to this level. Just because of pennies. They are not doing that thing for nothing. Atangaji boys, which I don't want to call Atangaji boys, I just want to say the government, because the government uses individuals differently in different areas. To infiltrate these people, I said the other one in the BLM there, for 300,000 francs, you go and kill people. At the time they did all those things, just like this guy, they thought that they were invincible. They did not for a moment believe they would be captured. Cannot say, like I've said in the previous analysis, that they were on drugs or what? How do you go and do this sort of things to your brothers and think that you walk down the street, people will not see you and recognize you? You might be thinking out of your mind. Maybe these guys are some of those guys on drugs who thought that taking a little bit of marijuana, taking a few pills, made them invincible. No, there's no invincibility before injustice. When you're doing injustice to somebody, your day is waiting. It's a question of time you'll be caught. And again, siding with the enemy in favor or against your own people, your own parents, your own friends, your own homeland is a crime that cannot be forgiven. But they're not the one killing you. You're the one killing yourself. Because they capture you. What would be the best punishment for you if they ask you? If you're taking other lives, is it not safer for you to die? Then take off your own life. Because life is not worth living anymore. Because what will you live? If the ones you kill were my cousins, they were my brothers, they were my people, I know them. You live, you think I will see you and spare you? I would not. And so all those people, this man, plus one in the BLM, from the plus ones that we don't know yet, because they are there, they should be aware that there comes a time that you can no longer hide. Poor boy, you're so young, you wasted your youth in doing harm to other people. Of course, now you've come to the end of your own journey. Either you die, I'm sure probably you're already dead. If you don't die, you are going to be a dead living human being. And this is a warning to all our youths. Again, back to what I said earlier. Those who go to play football and the pretext that there's peace. Football where you are bought to play. I saw some trophy somewhere. Someone asked in this program, in one of these programs I watched, is this money come from Baja? Is that our personal money? No. It's blood money sponsored from Yaoundé, because the football in Momo is not only in Momo. It is everywhere in Amazonia. I ask yourselves, if it's just football, why are they not doing it in the other 58 divisions of Cameroon? Why is it concentrated only in the 13 divisions of so-called Northwest Southwest? With the fortune of money given to criminal supporters of the regime in the name of ministers, people who have blood on their hands. People like Mbeshia, who is a woman with children. People like young Didier Momo, whose own child died there. He glorified himself when his child was killing other people's children. When his own dies, you see him weeping like an old dog. We can only assure you, one day for the thief, a day for the thief, one day for the house owner. Your criminality will not deter Ambazonians. Ambazonians have made up their mind. They will fight to liberate themselves, and liberation must come sooner or later. Like it or not, we shall liberate ourselves. Traitors, you have to be careful. Because we are not caught now, you are going to be accountable tomorrow. Over to you.
Well, betrayal of your own brother is truly an act that cannot be forgiven. Thank you very much, Barrister Mbeshia. Thank you for the thought perspectives you brought to our reports tonight. Always a pleasure to have you on the show and to always hear from your wealth of knowledge. You're giving us perspectives and giving us deep insight on what is happening from the home front. This is where we'll let you go, and so we'll head over to the rest of the news. Benin Republic's National Assembly has voted to temporarily dissolve the Autonomous National Electoral Commission, the body responsible for organizing and overseeing elections, pending the creation of a new electoral institution. Lawmakers said the move is intended to reduce public spending following recent constitutional and electoral reforms that extend the mandate of the president, members of parliament, and municipal councillors to 7 years, delaying the need for nationwide elections. The government said the suspension would be followed by a transitional period during which a new institutional framework for election management would be developed to align with the country's revised political system. SENA has been responsible for supervising electoral operations, ensuring compliance with electoral laws, and safeguarding the credibility of election results. However, its performance has come under increasing scrutiny in recent years, with critics questioning its effectiveness. During the transition, the Council of Ministers will oversee the cancellation of SENA's existing commitment and put measures in place to preserve the Commission's assets until a replacement body is established. The government has not announced a timeline for establishing the new electoral management body. Also tonight, Senegalese President Bassirou Diomaye Faye has appointed veteran magistrate Ousmane Diagne as president of the Constitutional Council, placing an experienced jurist at the helm of the country's highest constitutional court following the death of Mamadou Badio Camara. The appointment, announced in a decree signed on July 13th, comes days after the Constitutional Council invalidated a constitutional amendment passed by the National Assembly, thrusting the institution into the center of the country's constitutional and political debate. Diagne, who has served as a member of the Constitutional Council, will now lead the body responsible for reviewing the constitutionality of laws, adjudicating electoral disputes, and ensuring the integrity of national elections. He brings decades of judicial experience to the position, having previously served as Prosecutor General at Dakar Court of Appeal, First Advocate General at the Supreme Court, and Minister of Justice. Local media reported that President Faye selected Diagne from a short list of senior judicial figures, including former Supreme Court President, a Prosecutor General, and another member of the Constitutional Council. The appointment follows the Constitutional Council's recent ruling that struck down a constitutional amendment after finding it had not been adopted in accordance with the procedure set out under Article 82 of the Constitution. The decision dealt a setback to constitutional reform supported by the parliamentary majority aligned with Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko, who accepted the ruling and reaffirmed his commitment to respecting the country's democratic institutions. The Constitutional Council has assumed an increasingly influential role in Senegal's political landscape. Now in February, the law was overturned. Now this whole presidential election clearing the way for the vote that brought President Faye to power. Now we see that Diagne's appointment comes as the Constitutional Council continues to play a central role in safeguarding constitutional order and resolving key political and electoral disputes in Senegal. Now let's head over to news across the globe. Iran launched missile attacks on Jordan and Bahrain on Tuesday, hours after the United States carried out a 5-hour military operation against Iranian targets, marking a sharp escalation in the confrontation over the Strait of Hormuz and raising fresh concerns over global energy security. The missile attacks came as U.S. forces conducted a third consecutive night of strikes after Tehran announced it had closed the strategic waterway, one of the world's busiest oil shipping routes. In response, President Donald Trump reinstated a blockade on Iranian shipping and proposed a 20% fee on cargo passing through the strait. Iran targeted a U.S. Army base in Jordan with ballistic missiles, while Bahrain's home to the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet reported intercepting an Iranian aerial attack. Jordanian authorities said air defense systems shot down 4 ballistic missiles, while explosions were reported in Bahrain's capital, Manama. No casualties were reported from the attack on the U.S. base in Jordan. Now we'll see that the renewed hostilities have cast doubt on the durability of a memorandum of understanding signed last month, which had been expected to reduce tensions after months of conflict that disrupted global energy supplies and heightened inflation concerns. Military analysts said both Washington and Tehran appeared to be seeking strategic leverage rather than a full-scale war, although the risks of further escalation remained significant. Oil markets reacted sharply to the latest development, with Brent crude rising 5% to 87.49 per barrel, which became the highest this week. The current conflict traces its origins to February 28, when the United States and Israel launched coordinated strikes on Iran. Tehran responded by targeting Israel and Gulf countries hosting U.S. military bases, reigniting fighting involving Hezbollah in Lebanon and triggering widespread casualties and displacement across the region. Meanwhile, Lebanon and Israel resumed U.S.-brokered talks in Rome on Tuesday aimed at advancing an Israeli withdrawal from southern Lebanon under an earlier agreement. Iranian media reported fresh U.S. strikes in several cities, including Bushehr, where multiple explosions were heard. Provincial officials said at least 4 areas of the city were hit, while 4 people were reported injured. Tensions have intensified since Iran announced over the weekend that it had closed the Strait of Hormuz after warning shots reportedly struck a vessel traveling on what Tehran described as an unauthorized route. And while President Donald Trump said the United States would restore its blockade of Iranian shipping, reversing measures introduced under last month's agreement, the U.S. Navy-led Joint Maritime Information Center said the blockade will take effect on Tuesday. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Arakchi rejected Washington's measures, insisting Tehran would continue to safeguard the Strait of Hormuz and dismissing the proposed transit fee. Before the latest crisis, nearly 1/5 of the world's oil and gas shipments pass through the Strait of Hormuz each day, making any disruption a major threat to global energy markets. Now, the United Nations Shipping Agency said there was no legal basis for imposing mandatory transit fees on vessels using international straits. Separately, the United Arab Emirates said Iranian missiles struck 2 Emirati oil tankers transiting the Strait of Hormuz on Monday. 1 Indian crew member was killed and 8 others were injured. Maritime tracking data showed tanker traffic through the strait had fallen to its lowest level in weeks. Although the full extent of the disruption remains difficult to verify, as some vessels have switched off their tracking system. And with that, we've come to the end of Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. But before we go, a recap of the prime headlines. In tonight's Undaunted, we saw family seeks answers after a young man is found dead weeks following reported arrest in Widikum. 6 French Cameroonian soldiers reportedly killed in overnight ambush in Boyi County. Commentary reignites debate over who is behind civilian abductions in southern Cameroon. Ambazonian State Army claims arrest of suspected kidnapper in southern Cameroon. And on the African scene, Benin Republic suspends Electoral Commission ahead of planned election reforms. And in the rest of the news across the globe, Iran fires missiles at Jordan and Bahrain as U.S. intensifies strikes, escalating Strait of Hormuz crisis. And that is all on Undaunted tonight, bringing into the news untold stories. On behalf of the entire Undaunted newsroom, we say thank you for joining. We'll leave you with ABC Amba TV images. Good night and God bless.